Local residents look for cover as they escape from the town of Irpin, after heavy shelling on the only escape route used by locals, while Russian troops advance towards the capital of Kyiv, in Irpin, near Kyiv, Ukraine, March 6, 2022. Reuters. Carlos Faria. Demonstrators scuffle with riot police as they march to Taksim Square to mark International Women's Day in Istanbul, Turkey, March 8. Reuters. Kamal Aslan. New members of the Territorial Defense Forces trained to operate RPG-7 anti-tank launcher during military exercises amid Russia's invasion of Ukraine, in Kyiv, Ukraine, March 9. Reuters. Valentin Ogerenko. Alexandra, 12, holds her sister Asya, 6, who cries as she waves at her mother Irina, while members of the Jewish community of Odessa board up positively Russia's invasion of Ukraine, in Odessa, Ukraine, March 7. Reuters. Alexandros Abramides. A man carries a dog as people flee, amid Russia's invasion of Ukraine, in Irpin, Ukraine, March 9. Reuters. Maxim Levin. A Tibetan wearing traditional headgear performs during a function organized to mark Losar or the Tibetan New Year in Kathmandu, Nepal, March 5. Reuters. Monica Duupala. A view shows cars and a building of a hospital destroyed by an aviation strike amid Russia's invasion of Ukraine, in Mariupol, Ukraine, in this handout picture released March 9, 2022. Press service of the National Police of Ukraine handout via Reuters. Olga hugs her boyfriend Vladimir as they say goodbye prior to Volodymyr's deployment closer to the front line, amid Russia's invasion of Ukraine, at the train station in Lviv, Ukraine, March 9, 2022. Reuters. Kai Pfaffenbach. A local resident reacts as a house is on fire after heavy shelling on the only escape route used by locals to leave the town of Irpin, while Russian troops advance towards the capital, 24 kilometers from Kyiv, Ukraine, March 6, 2022. Reuters. Carlos Faria. Wang Yu of China in action during Parabiathlon, women's middle distance vision impaired at the Beijing 2022 Winter Paralympic Games, March 8. Reuters. Issei Kato. A boy plays basketball with a plush toy inside the sports hall of a primary school, transformed into temporary accommodation for people fleeing the Russian invasion of Ukraine, in Przemysl, Poland, March 8. Reuters. Fabrizio Bench. A member of the Honor Guard holds a portrait of the member of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, Valery, who was killed during Russia's invasion of Ukraine, during a funeral ceremony in Kyiv, Ukraine, March 8. Reuters. Valentin Ogerenko. A police officer says goodbye to his son as his family flees from advancing Russian troops as Russia's attack on Ukraine continues in the town of Irpin outside Kyiv, Ukraine, March 8. Reuters. Thomas Peter. Lee Jae-myung, the presidential candidate of South Korea's ruling Democratic Party, attends his election campaign rally in Seoul, South Korea, March 8. Reuters. Kim Hong-ji. Local residents cross a destroyed bridge as they evacuate from the town of Irpin, after days of heavy shelling on the only escape route used by locals, while Russian troops advance towards the capital, in Irpin, near Kyiv, Ukraine, March 7. Reuters. Carlos Faria. An activist performs the Chilean feminist protest anthem, Un violador en tu camino, a rapist in your path, ahead of International Women's Day in Santiago, Chile, March 7. Reuters. Ivan Alvarado. Security personnel keeps watch before the second plenary session of the National People's Congress, NPC, at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing, China, March 8. Reuters. Carlos Garcia Rollins. Musicians of the Kyiv Classic Symphony Orchestra under the direction of conductor Herman Makarenko perform, during an open-air concert named Free Sky at the Independence Square in central Kyiv, Ukraine, March 9. Reuters. Gleb Garanich. A Ukrainian service member walks near a school building destroyed by shelling, as Russia's invasion of Ukraine continues, in Zhytomyr, Ukraine, March 4. Reuters. Vyacheslav Ratinsky. Scott Minair of Britain in action during para cross-country skiing, men's long-distance sitting at the Beijing 2022 Winter Paralympic Games, March 6. Reuters. Issei Kato.